Hi, everybody. Welcome to Shot Takes Episode 7. Today we have a special guest with us. We have novelist and film director Jason. If you want to give us a bit of your background and what you got going on.
Absolutely. I'm Jay Penberth, originally from Pennsylvania, lived in Los Angeles for 21 years. Yeah, something like that. Time goes so fast, I couldn't tell you. 21 years and reconnected with my high school crush during COVID and got married and moved back here to Pennsylvania. And so now raising the family out here, her kids, my kids, and transitioned into novel writing, which is great. I love it.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
So we have a wealth of knowledge with Jason here. I've been wanting to interview him for a while. I'm glad that we can finally get the chips lined up here and the times lined up.
I'm glad to be here.
That we can interview him because he's got a lot of fun experiences. I'm a big film buff. I love cinematography. I love, reading and watching good stories. So I think that, he's worked in that industry for a while, and I'd love to hear what experiences he's had while he was been in the business. So if you haven't been on the show before, this is a Shot Takes. We do a series of shots. We do 6 shots, 1 per topic. So before each topic, we'll take a shot and we'll get a thought-provoking question from Dave here that we scripted up for our guests. So
okay.
Without further ado, if you guys are ready, we can go ahead and get into this.
All right, jumping into shot 1. Go ahead and tee her up, boys. I'll get us started here.
All right.
We'll clink the first ones, and after that, I don't want to take any chances.
All right. So here we go.
So jumping right into your background, what is the reality of getting into being a director, and what challenges have you faced? We have a couple extra parts to this, but your knee-jerk reaction. What is the reality of getting into being a director, and what challenges have you personally faced?
Reality, don't do it. I mean, it's reality is just a lifelong dedication. Like if you could, the earlier you can start, the better off you're going to be. Mm-hmm. But it's really, if you have a love for storytelling, pick up a camera and go.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing I didn't do when I was a kid. Like I was writing stories from a young age. And I never really picked up the camera. Like I had the imagination. I played the games in the backyard, like with friends and guns and cowboys and Indians and all that stuff. And never really picked up a camera though. And that's the thing, like the directing didn't show up for me until like 2017, 2018. Mm-hmm. When I really found my groove and my voice as a writer. I had some mentors of mine suggest that the way that I write, it would be something to consider.
Right.
And so I literally made the transition, like signed up for a collaborative filmmakers challenge or whatever in Los Angeles. And it's basically this thing where it's like a 48-hour film festival.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen those where you like get the script or you get the piece of dialogue everyone has to have. Everyone has to include one dialogue, a character name, and like a job, and then you go and you get a genre, and you have to go make a film in 48 hours.
Oh, okay, so it's like a challenge.
It was basically over 2 weeks, yes. And so I had all these meetings. I was shopping a couple television shows, and one of my mentors sat me down and was like, "You should consider directing. Like it's something you should look at." And so I was like, my friends were all doing this collaborative filmmakers challenge at CFC. I got to verify the name for you. So if you're going to put any links or anything in there, we'll do that. But like,
we can always add that in after.
They were like signing up for it. It's like, great, let's do it. But that one works over 2 weeks. So you have 2 weeks and everyone has to basically collaborate and work on each other's projects.
Okay. And
so I was like, yeah, great, let's do it. I'm down. I'm going to do a film too. Like I signed up, I'm going to direct something. And so it was like 4 films we worked on between the group of us in 2 weeks. And I was like, mine's the last because I have meetings like lined up all throughout the 2 weeks. Like I literally left a meeting and went to help out everyone else in their projects. And the day before we were shooting mine, I got these texts from everyone involved. Like, hey, what's the script? What are we doing? What's happening? I was like, I don't know. I know where we're shooting,
right,
and I know what time you guys need to be there. So like gave me the call time. They showed up. But they're like, what are we shooting? I was like, I have no clue. We're probably going to wing it. Like, I don't know. Mm. And then, so I woke up the next morning. I knew my daughter was going to be in it as an actress, and because she's a supremely talented actress.
That's awesome. How old is your daughter, or how old was she at the time?
At the time, she was probably, she's about to turn 19.
Okay.
And this was I don't know, 6 years ago. No, not quite. 5 years ago. What is 2023? Like 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. So she would have been 15, 14 or 15.
Okay.
And but it's something she always wanted to do. She loves it, and so I was like, she's gonna be in it. We're gonna do this, and the morning I woke up, like call time was like 11 a.m. and I woke up in the morning, and Calliope's my daughter's name. She came out and she's like, well, "What are we doing, Dad?" I'm like, "I don't know." I was like, "Why don't you get a shower? Go get ready." And literally, I took my first sip of coffee, and it like hit me, and I was like, "Great!" So I wrote the script and like I finished it. She got showered, got ready, I handed the script, and she goes, "Wait, you wrote this in 25 minutes?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then so I handed the script out to
ChatGPT, like the
no, it didn't exist back then. That's the thing. So if you're ever at my house and I'm writing whatever I'm working on, and Shannon, and you know Shannon, like she'll tell you this story. She loves telling this story. She's listening right now. She's watching right now too. So
hi, Shannon.
But that when so the thing about Shannon you need to know is her and her three daughters, like blessed with amazing voices, right? Like can just sing anyone under the table, right? And me, not so much. Yeah. But when I got my AirPod Pros in, and I got noise canceling on, and I'm in the zone, and I've like checked out and like checked into the story basically, and I'm just writing, I'm just like, like singing Dave Matthews Band, like. They just
completely toned down.
Yeah, completely toned down, and I lost track of the story. But I got into that zone, and I just wrote this thing, and like I powered through it. It was like 12 pages. I wrote it in 15 minutes or whatever. We went and shot it. It was edited together as all one take, as a continuous shot.
That's tough to do.
It is, yeah, and it ended up taking home runner-up in for Best Picture and Best Cinematography, and Callie was nominated for Best Actress in the competition and stuff.
That's awesome.
So that was my first foray into directing. Like it was just this short film. I don't do comedy. It was dark. Like it's I don't think I sent you the link. But it's something I can give you. You can drop in if anyone wants to watch it. But it's just this. It's called Connected, and it's about how we're so connected, we're disconnected. But there's no dialogue. It's just literally this piece where Calliope carries it and runs with it. And that was my first thing into directing. And then from there, it went to music videos. And so I sort of stumbled upon it. And I helped as a production manager, help produce music videos, short films, feature films, and for other directors and other friends and things like that. And it was never something I really considered. So to get back to your question, I do that. Tangents are my favorite.
It's totally fine. I mean, it's a very interesting story. So
it's you need to love it, because the business will spit you up, tear you out, tear you apart, swallow you again, and spit you out all over.
Yeah.
Like, and you need to be able to have the thickest skin you can possibly imagine. But when you have it, you have it. Like if you love telling stories and you have it, like I would say if you can be a writer director, that's even better. Like or you have a writer that you can collaborate with, and that you just are simpatico, and you just you just speak that unspoken language, and you can just knock stuff out. Do it. Shoot as much as you can.
Right.
Short films, direct music videos. Well,
speaking of the music videos, you said you directed a few. I know that we researched a bit into your work, and we have a music video if you wanted to pull it up and show some of the audience what you've done.
Which one are we pulling up first?
We currently have Familiar Faces at the moment. Is that what you want to start?
No, that's great. Do you want the background on that, or after or before?
All I want to know is if I'm going to get copyright struck, because I can't take any more of these copyright strikes. I'm going to lose my mind.
How does that work? Like Jacob's a close friend of mine. Like I don't think he will. The song is on. It's published, but like I think you'd be fine.
Usually they come from the publisher, and they have like a program that runs at all times on YouTube. So check for that.
I'm joking. It's fine. Yeah. We don't make any money from this, so let's run it.
Oh, this is headphone time, right?
Okay,
headphone time. We'll listen to the first 2 minutes of it. We'll do the first.
It's 6 minutes. Yeah, you're good. The first 2 minutes is
All right, we'll do the first 2 minutes of it.
Yeah, because there's like an intro scene, and well, here you go.
All right.
Okay. You turn it down just a touch.
Yep.
Telling me you want to pursue music? Are you kidding me right now? I'm so over this relationship. How's that even gonna feed us? That's
So what was it like working? You can keep playing. What was it like working like with all the different elements of this? Like, is it like daunting, like having to like manage all these different people and everything, or?
I don't know. I love it. It's a puzzle,
Yeah.
and you're putting a puzzle together in real time, and all the pieces, and it's really just clever. It's trusting your team.
Mm-hmm.
It's really trusting the people you're working with, understanding. You know, you may have the vision, but you need someone to capture. Because I couldn't tell you the first thing about like aperture and
ISO
all
and
of
all
that
that
stuff.
other
Like
stuff.
you have someone who can just, this is what I want, this is what I see, can we get this? And then you really work together to do that. But it's fun. Like, it took to fill that little bus with fog, it took like 30 minutes. We're just kind of sitting around hanging out for 30 minutes.
That's how we are at the
And then
Halloween
every
parties.
time we open the door, we have to close it, wait 10 minutes, fill it, and then go. Like, this took an hour to fill that warehouse.
Wow.
It's a massive warehouse.
Are those your shoes?
No,
I saw you wear them on the way in today.
I dance in this video, but it's not that.
Oh, nice.
It's the comedy.
I didn't know you
It's
dance in this video. What do you dance in?
at the end. It's
We
literally
gotta
put in
get
for
to the end
comedy.
before the end of the 2 minutes. Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, this is a great cinematography and
I
it's
love
great
the
vision.
editing on that. That was fantastic.
I did edit this. I cut this together. Yeah.
You
I
edit
like-
this.
I like
Wow,
those
that's
cuts.
awesome.
That's
So,
cool.
do you like commission just like the photographers and the cameramen just to go?
We hired the. Okay, so on this video was shot during COVID lockdown in Los Angeles.
You want to slow down a bit there?
Jacob and some of his crew were sort of in that try that we would get together and play music, and well, I wouldn't play music, I would just listen because again, can't sing, not musically gifted. No, like I love cutting these things, and I cut this thing in like an hour. I cut the first draft in like 3 hours or something, and then took it over to Jacob's house, and we're like, all right, let's finalize this. Like let's go through this, and oh, it's great. Cutting music videos is so much fun. The best part is he just walks off and like puts his finger out. He's like, no.
No, I love that. I love that so much. All right, cool. I mean, yeah, that was a great video. I mean, it really showcases not only your talents as a director, but as an editor, which I didn't even know that you had the editing aspect too. I'm not sure where you picked that up or where you picked up your other skills.
It was one of those things. I was, like I said, I had like 3 kids in elementary school, and one of their friends from school, their dad was like, do you know how to edit? And I was like, I can mess around with it. Like, I know Final Cut Pro to cut like film reels together. He's like, great, come over to my office and I'll teach you some things. And so he had me doing assistant editing on a feature film called Elena Undone, and I was basically laying string out. So it's basically string out is taking all the shots from one scene and laying them. Oop, I told you I wouldn't do that, and I just did it. Taking all the shots from one scene and laying them out on the same timeline from each camera, and so that the editor can go in, and because Craig was editing it, and then you can go in and he could quickly find the shots that he wants and mark the ones he wants, and then assemble them on a different timeline.
Yeah, it sounds like
That's
a pretty
so
efficient
close, it's
workflow.
really hard not to
Something
hit it.
beeped. Oh, we're at time.
We are.
All right, awesome.
Is that 20
Yeah.
minutes?
Yeah, that was 20 minutes.
I forgot
We
had that in. Normally you don't hear it.
yeah, it's all good. But
I was like, ooh, fancy.
yeah, I mean that was a great trip there. If there's any
Did I
other-
answer all your questions? We didn't even get to your add-ons.
So I don't want to like make the topics are there as a jump board to kind of inspire or ignite the conversation.
That's good because I'm really quiet. I have a real hard problem talking about myself or talking about anything really. Like I go to a party and I sit in a corner and hide, right?
Yeah, I mean
You
that's
guys know-
nature of being an introvert. So
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
know, such an introvert.
Well, one thing I like though about the way you answer these questions, you really focused on the work itself. And when we pulled up your music video, I really liked the inside scoop. Like, hey, I edited that, or hey, that van took 10 minutes to fill. So
Yeah.
I thought it was really
I
interesting.
love the
thank you.
realism of it. It really brings it to like much more
That's the-
human
Like
element
to me,
of it.
that's where the magic is. That's why it is. It's like so I don't know if you know this about like I ruined car scenes in movies for my wife Shannon
Okay.
because I don't know if you ever noticed, and I'm about to ruin it for you guys if you haven't.
Okay.
But part of me, the magic is the fact that you know how it's made and yet you see how it comes out. That's the magic of it, right?
Mhm.
Like there's nothing there and all of a sudden you watch the finished product and it's like you're standing in, Mordor, like the middle of burning lava pit, like whatever, right? But you were surrounded by a blue screen to get there, standing on a fake rock, But in car scenes, in TV shows, and in some films, not so much film, but mostly television shows like Brooklyn Nine-Nine or something like that, you look in, when they're in a car, they'll take the headrest out of the car so they can get better shots in the thing. So if you look, and now you look, and I'm telling you, as soon as you start watching it, the first time you see it, you're never going to not see it.
See, I get the same thing with military stuff in like movies. Like every time that they don't cock their gun after they reload it, or there's some other military discrepancy, I just notice it immediately.
So my favorite one of that is when you see like a close-up of like Keanu Reeves firing his gun in John Wick, but it's already it's chamber locked, so it's empty, and he's still firing, and there's still the sound coming out. You catch him in certain movies where you see that they didn't cut away soon enough, so you can see that it's empty,
still see those relics.
He still fires 2 shots, and it's like, oh, invisible bullets. Okay.
I love that. To the John Wick series credit, he does go and do the 3 gun stuff. He legitimately
tries
to be like a good gunman.
Yeah,
because he's kind of representing all good gunmen.
Yeah, and it's amazing the study that he's a whole other beast of an actor.
Have all those skills packaged into one. He's the dream actor. I mean, granted, he only does that one rugged role, but he does that one rugged role really fucking well. So.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. But if you've never seen him in Something's Gotta Give, he's great. He makes a cameo in there as a doctor, and it's like just such a cool. It's like he's so small, but it was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
it's just funny. It's a great film, but he's also just really awesome in that.
I'll have to check that out. What's it called again?
Something's Gotta Give.
Okay.
Yeah,
when did that come out?
I think that's the one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, whenever you're ready, we can get into the next topic. But before we do the next topic, you brought along a little
we're
treat
busting this out now
under that table. Yeah, I got an empty cup here, so I figured this is the time for
it. Which camera are you on? Here or here?
I'm trying to bring it to here right now.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, I did.
We're gonna skip one of these shots. We're gonna just do.
Okay.
yours.
So when I finish a book or finish any writing project that I do, I always pour myself a glass of.
Okay. You want to show
of this single malt scotch right here, Lefroy.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Yeah.
Not sponsored, right? It is not a favorite in my family. They basically sit there and go, "Why are you drinking gasoline?" Or
how bad is it? Do I need to get my chaser?
It smells. Oh, it smells like a fireplace here. Go ahead, take a.
I feel so fancy.
Right?
Man, that is really strong.
Yes, it is. It is. Do you want to take a gander there, David?
Sure.
It does
or not
smell.
a gander. Yeah.
A whiff.
Yeah, thank
A
you.
nose gander.
A nose gander. Yeah. Ooh, I like that. Do you want me to pour, or do you want to pour it?
Yeah, pour. What percent is this?
43%.
Let's rock it. Alrighty, we're early in it. We'll be fine. Pull it up to that first line, that first middle line.
There.
A little bit more.
A little bit more.
Yeah, right there.
Now this is a sipping.
This is a sipping
Do
scotch?
not shoot this. Oh yeah, I mean, if you want to shoot it, you can.
It's shot takes.
What are you
It's shot takes. You know what? I've never shot Lefroy. Let's do it.
Jason, this isn't sip takes. This is shot takes. I'm joking. I don't know if I'm going to survive this if I shoot this straight.
Oh,
This man.
Can we do half?
I would, yeah. I would.
Are you recommending a quarter? I don't. What am I drinking right now?
Well, you ask anyone. You ask my wife. It's gasoline.
Let me get my water ready. If it's really bad,
I'm going to enjoy just doing this.
Okay. Okay. We'll sip on that. It's the same color as everything else, so I'm gonna mix this up at some point.
That's why I set mine out here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jay, you're a little more distinguished compared to most of our guests. You sip your alcohol, you don't take it back.
Oh my god,
hold on. It's not just that. I sip it like this.
It's so strong. Do I need a bucket on this show from now on? All right, Jay. Here we go.
You're gonna shoot that. You're brave. I won't shoot that.
Wow.
I wish there was a camera on this side because the expression Tim just made at me.
You got it over here.
I thought doctors were in the pharmaceutical business, not the shop business. You can't take much more rubbing alcohol.
Oh,
Listen, I'm gonna sip on that while we're going.
All right.
But in between each shot, I'm gonna do that.
Whew.
let's just do a normal shot because that's gonna be too much to do at once. You cool with that?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I would.
I'm banishing this one all the way to the back, just so I make sure I don't accidentally drink that. Okay, all right, we're ready.
We're ready.
All right, let's rock.
All right, here we go. Cheers, my man.
Cheers, fellas. All right, so question number 2. Is at-home movie streaming the beginning of the end for movie theaters? And how will media be affected by the advent of cell phone-focused viewing experience? For example, vertical aspect ratio, shorts, potential augmented reality and virtual reality viewing experiences, etc.
Oh, okay. So this is interesting.
That's why we pick the questions. We get the hard ones out
streaming,
there.
I think, has been changing the game for a while. I don't know. Like, movie theaters are still movie theaters, but it's really, I don't know. Let me ask you guys. I'm going to flip this. Let me ask you guys a question.
Good.
When's the last good straight to streaming movie you've seen? That you're like, you watch it and you go, I wish I would have watched that in movie theaters.
So for me, like I'm not like young by any means, but the new Five Nights at Freddy's movie. It came out recently, but that's the only one I've watched streaming only. I usually only watch movies in movie theaters. And I love going to. I think I like making an event of it. I get my popcorn, I pour the M&Ms in there, I shake it up, make that trail mix. I get crazy, but when it comes to the streaming
Got a ritual
stuff,
to
like,
it.
I couldn't find anybody to go with me to see this Five Nights at Freddy's movie, so I'm like, fuck it. It's on Peacock. I'm just gonna watch it here. It's free,
right?
You know, like they're throwing this at me. Like, why not just watch it in the comfort of my home? You know, and I feel like that's detrimental to the movie theater business. But I also think that it's inevitable because it's a luxury, and people are gonna gravitate towards luxury
yes. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right, and I think for me, I remember, I don't know, the 2000. And maybe 8 or 9, that I heard about, like, for like the rich people, they could get, who had the home theater systems that were connected to the internet, could get, like, for $300. I don't know if it's true or not. I never actually researched it, but I remember people saying, like, you could pay to get the movie delivered to your house instead of going to the theaters and watching it because you don't really want to go to the theaters, you know. But like, whether it's true or not, who knows, you know?
Right.
So don't quote me on that. But it's what they're doing now. Like, I think it's situational. Like, my kids grew up in Los Angeles. Movies to us are still a sacred thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, going to movies, seeing a movie come out, we're gonna go see it here. We go sit in the recliners. Same thing. Like, they get their popcorn, we get their drinks. You know, we bring blankets and we sit and we watch a movie. You know, put the recliners back and watch a movie. Like, out there, every AMC has recliners. Like, it's rare to find one that doesn't. You know.
I still want to go to one of the AMCs that have like the bringing the food to you.
Those are nice, but they're distracting.
Yeah.
They're distracting. Well, they're not. They try to bring the food out.
At the climax.
And you have a mouth breather eating while you're while you're. You know.
Let me tell you. When I was in the Army, me and my buddies went down to Clarksville, and there's a movie theater down there, and we went to go see the first Avengers movie. And we're all military people. We all sat in the front row, whatever. And they snuck in alcohol bottles into this movie theater. And at the very end of the movie, they're drinking this whole time, you know, getting like turned up, watching the Avenger movies. And as soon as like it's dead quiet, the movie ends, he stands up and he drops the bottle, and it's the undeniable sound of a bottle hitting the ground.
Rolling down.
You know that it was an alcohol bottle.
That's
the
awesome.
ground.
That's great. But see, they have theaters in Los Angeles. I mean, I think they probably have them out here. They're everywhere now. They're like 21 and over screenings, so you can you order a drink, you take a drink into the movie, and like you don't have to hide it anymore. You know. No, that's great. Like, you hear just rolling down the thing. I think streaming. So I think it's situational to bring us back.
Yeah.
I think streaming, it's different. Like, I remember the last few movies I've saw on Netflix and streaming. I'm like, I'm okay not seeing that in the theaters.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know. I can't remember. There's certain movies where I'm like, okay, I have to see that in a movie theater.
So if it's like the quality of the movie, the fanfare
like Oppenheimer.
of it.
Oppenheimer, you have to watch Oppenheimer in the theaters.
Okay.
Like, and my wife Shannon and I went and saw it, and then I was like, I need to see it in IMAX. Like, she doesn't. She humors me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, she loves, like, we loved that movie together, and that was one she wanted to go back and see. But if I was like, hey babe, let's go see, you know, Avengers Endgame in the movie theaters. I took her to see Suicide Squad.
I'm sorry.
Yes, the newest one, the one
that's not
that
that
James
bad.
Gunn did, that's
Yeah.
overly violent.
Yeah, that one's
And
not
like
bad.
after like literally in the first minute and a half, she goes, "I'm done." Like, well, it's not her thing.
Yeah.
You know, like even I was like watching this, going, "Okay, what's going on?" Like, there's
Yeah.
just heads exploding everywhere, and like it's just
It's
unnecessary.
entertaining me. There's
And,
a
you know,
shark man.
So
whatever.
there's just I think it depends. Like I bought the new Hunger Games. I wanted to see it. I bought it on that, got that early release at home thing, and we watched it with the kids over the weekend. Because Shannon has 3, I have 3, and then my daughter's boyfriend's Brian is out here with her too. And, but taking 7 kids to the movies,
That's
you know,
expensive.
it's like
that's
$150.
That's crazy because
You got pop. It's actually $200 when you factor in popcorn at $12 a ticket to $18 a ticket, plus popcorn and drinks for everyone. And no matter how many rewards points you have, that just adds
it's
up.
never gonna
Versus spending $20 and buying the movie at home early.
and watch it.
And
as
I have a
much as you want.
7.1 surround sound system down in a basement.
Oh, we cooking, baby.
Yes, we are. With the 70-inch television, so there's a screening room downstairs.
Right.
It's not 55 speakers or 150 speakers.
But it's enough of an experience.
The couch shakes with the subwoofer, and
That's sick. Yeah.
I think with that, it's one of those things. It's subjective. Like there's certain movies. Oppenheimer's one. We saw Barbie in the theaters. I can't remember. I saw a few others in the theaters this year, like Ant-Man 2 and things like that.
One I would recommend.
That one I wish I got my money back on.
Not to get too off topic, but it's still on topic in the sense of like what is worth going to the theater to see. I went to go see this Godzilla -1 movie, and it is a relatively unheard of movie. It was made in Japan and all that stuff like that. It's meant to mirror the old Godzilla movies in the sense that it's like it kind of looks like a statue when it's moving.
Okay.
It's
like
kind of
stop motion almost.
It's kind of
like
uncanny.
Claymation.
It doesn't have expression. It's just kind of just like menacing. But that movie has like a 98 or 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. Not just like critic score, but like audience score as well.
Okay.
And that movie was fantastic. And I would recommend it to anybody who was looking for a good movie to watch.
Can I ask a question?
What's that?
So I'm gonna quote my son Sebastian here, because him and we get in this debate every time. Like we look up a movie. I took him to see Aquaman 2 over the weekend.
I didn't see it yet, but I heard good things. But what do you think?
I mean, if you like Aquaman, great.
Okay.
It was entertaining, but it wasn't like blow my mind.
It's like
what it is. It's a popcorn movie, right?
Yeah.
And so like Sebastian and he's like, oh well, the audience score is like 85%. I'm like, okay, but what's the critic score?
Yeah.
He's like 33 or whatever it was. And he's like, yeah, but the critics don't know. And I'm like, I don't know. I feel like not all of them do. Like I get that some, just whatever. It's personal. It's totally subjective, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, if they're all that many of 70% of them are in agreement that it's not great, like but in your opinion, what do you pay attention to more? Do you pay attention to the critic score? Or do you pay attention to the audience score?
It's a combination of both. So every Marvel movie is going to have a crazy high audience score from what I've seen. And Marvel movies are designed to just cater to the audience. And sometimes the stories are good, like Winter Soldier or whatever else, or Ragnarok.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the time it's not. So if I'm going to see a movie that I have no idea what it is, I'm going to look at the critic score, because I feel like it's going to be more indicative of whether or not I'm going to enjoy that movie. Because myself, I want to go there for a more thought-provoking movie with good cinematography, as opposed to just are people getting shot,
Right? Or fish people dying. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Got it. That's how I feel. Mm-hmm. To me, I do pay attention to the critic score as well.
Do you think that this do you think that like the youth have these same notions of like you look at like TikTok? I don't watch TikTok or anything like that, but like it's a very addicting platform to be on. It kind of like it forces it into your face where you're watching these 10-second things as opposed to a horizontal video.
So I think
like,
what was oh, see, you got the computer in front of you, but you're handling all this stuff.
You can
what was David Katzenberg started a company? Was the Vertical Video Movies? Oh, what was it called?
Vertical. That's what I wanted to get to. Like,
I know, I'm bringing it back to that for you. I'm giving you your segue here.
Yeah.
Like they started a company, that was Vertical Video movie, TVs and movies in these 2-minute clips. Do you remember it was David Katzenberg? What was it? Or Jeffrey Katzenberg, not David. Sorry, Jeffrey Katzenberg.
Yeah.
That's probably why I'm.
Yeah, that's why.
I'm not seeing
wrong
it.
name.
How do you spell Katzenberg?
Katzenberg, something like that.
Does it ever? So like smartphones.
It was like it wasn't. Oh, what was it called?
Jeffrey Katzenberg.
Vertical Video Movie Company. That's what I would search.
We'll try and look that up while we're.
Yeah, I'm looking up while you guys are talking.
We'll give you some time to
Anyway,
look
he
into
started
that.
one that was literally meant to deliver. They got Liam Hemsworth and all these people to do shows.
So here's the thing with that. I don't think you can convince a person, just a normal, like average, like even like someone who's younger or old or whatever, to just sit on their phone vertically for an hour and a half. I think, in my opinion, the trend of movies in terms of that, if they were to transition to the cell phone, it would be short films would be the ones that predominantly take over. And it would be these, 5 to 10 minute based films that you watch on your phone, as opposed to something where you have to switch it, go horizontally. You have to find a place to set up your phone so you could watch it and everything. Is this the film company?
What's it called?
Jeffrey Katzenberg's plan to revolutionize media on mobile screens. Variety Media.
What's the service?
I'm trying to get it.
Can you plus it up real quick?
Sure.
Thank you. It's not really doing anything.
No,
it's fine.
Website,
There we go.
Okay, there we go. Oh, and now we're in 80-year-old mode.
Yes. Hold on. Here we go. Yeah. There it is. Okay. No, it doesn't even say in there. I can't remember. May I?
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, for sure.
So what do you see here, Dave? Targeting 18 to 34-year-olds, short form video. See, that makes sense to me, right? Like, you have a vertical video, like you're not going to convince him to stay there for 2 hours.
I'll find it. I literally have an email from him in my inbox right now. From, like, I was at Sundance in 2020 and we're trying to get a meeting. So.
Oh, you know this guy?
No, I don't. Don't know him. It's totally cold emails. Okay, so story. I was pitching a TV show at Sundance in 2020, right before COVID. And Quibi, it was called Quibi is what it was called.
Okay.
And it was designed to do this, and it went under within a year. Threw
Tragic.
A boatload of money at it because it didn't, whatever reason, it didn't hold. Like, the idea was to catch in that TikTok generation, quick hits, like watch a movie in 3 or 6 minute segments, 5 to 10 minute segments, depending on what it was.
That's so hard to do, right?
In vertical video, shot in vertical video, and then you can. But they're also able to, like, and it just they sold all the content, they closed the company, it was done.
I think it's a good idea. I think that you can really hook them in, like Mr. Beast type style, where you have like a good reason to keep people there. They'll stay there if it's compelling enough, right?
Right.
But you have to tell like an exceptional story.
That's what YouTube's for.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
That's what Mr. Beast is doing, right?
Yeah.
My kids love Mr. Beast. I've seen maybe 4 videos.
Yeah.
I don't watch YouTube very much at all. I just don't.
So.
For Tim and I, in my generation, YouTube is our television.
Absolutely.
We are not subscribed to Comcast, anything like that.
Absolutely.
Everything we do is, which YouTube channel am I going to today? That's what we're watching.
Like,
our service providers are subscribed, who we're subscribed to.
I don't understand it. Okay, so my Shannon's dad, Alan, sweetest dude you'll ever meet.
Right.
Every time he's over, like we did every time they come to visit, he's like, hey, have you seen this on YouTube? Have you seen this YouTube? I'm like, I don't know. I don't watch YouTube.
That's so interesting.
But he shows me awesome stuff. Yeah. And it's just one of those things where I don't know. It's not my thing. Like, I'd rather sit and watch an hour television show and experience and go through that journey versus watching for me, my thing with YouTube is I'd rather not lose time in my life to watch someone live theirs. But then again, I could just be old because I am 41, like it's just.
Let me interject. So like, I don't typically watch. I do watch Mr. Beast only because like his videos are fantastic. But the videos I tend to watch tend to be informational in a sense. Yes. Like I'll watch YouTubers who cover the news. I'll watch YouTubers who like Kuzagrot. I don't know if you've ever heard of them before. They do like science-based things where they go over like how the universe was formed and how different conflicts can be ended and like human psychology. It's like very intellectually driven content.
I like that.
Okay. They exist out there. You have to, I think that maybe you haven't been exposed maybe to those channels.
I mean, again, I'm old.
Yeah. I mean, I'm the same way with TikTok, right? Like, I don't want to watch TikTok because, like, I feel like the value of that content is not as good. Same with you, whereas you feel like the value of an hour-long documentary on, like, I don't know, like the History Channel or something, maybe some Ancient Aliens.
HBO documentaries are so good. And then Shannon has me hooked on 2020 Murder Whodunits. I never really got into that. Yeah. And like now I can't get enough of it.
Yeah. But like, you know, that be an hour long. We're like the 30-minute long generation. The kids now are like the 10-second. Well, what's like next? Is it like the second long era of media?
Yeah, like 5 seconds. Oh, told story. Okay, great. You know? Well, that's what that service was trying to capitalize on. To answer your question of can the vertical video thing, I don't know. I don't in my personal opinion, I don't think what film does and what television and what that medium is meant to do transitions well from that. And I think that was proven with the Quibi thing, in my opinion. But again, who am I? You know, no, like it's not there.
Yeah. So the other aspect I'll bring into this is I know we're getting on the back half of the 10 or the 20 with Meta and everything. I know that people are kind of like naysaying that as the future. I genuinely, I agree that augmented reality might be the future of media and cell phones and everything. If you just wear like a pair of glasses and you don't even have, you just like look at stuff on your eyes to the glasses, and that's how you interact with the universe basically. How would that shape how we view stuff? Will we just all sit in the living room and like all be on our VR, AR glasses and watching a movie?
I don't know. Do we really need one more thing to disconnect us from reality? So
that's the interesting thing. I think that AR might be a step back towards reality, one small step, right? Because like you go out in public, let's say you take a vacation to like Mexico and you want to talk to the local population, you could have like a speaker on your goggles that would hear what they're saying, translate it into your ear, and they could also have glasses on too, and you could speak to them, and you could be interacting with cultures that you would never be able to interact with before. You know, not to say that that's inevitable, but I think that's a very realistic way to look at it.
That to me feels like a purposeful reason to do it. Mm-hmm. Like that is like, you know, you remove the language barrier, you remove that communication barrier, right? Which ultimately would lead to more connection. I mean, if we're not striving for connection, what are we after? Right. You know? So that to me, that makes sense. Like that is an augmented reality thing. I'm like, okay, great, let's do that. Like if I can go to Italy and be in Italy and speak no Italian, but yet have something like that is without having to pull my phone out and go, hey, can you say that in here again? So, you know, and then, let me type this in here and, you know, like to be able to have it in real time, that's cool.
Not to mention, like, there was that Pokemon Go craze, and I think Dave still plays it, right? Like, where you have people from all different cultures or nerds that would just stay inside all day, and, you know, they never left their house if they didn't have Pokemon Go. It kind of forced them to go outside, right? And that is like a precursor, I think, to what augmented reality could bring to society, right? It could force people outside to make these interactions. It's not just like a very enclosed environment, right? You know?
Absolutely. How much time do we have left before we have to go on to the next?
We can burn over
because I have so on Pokemon Go, like that, like you're absolutely right. It got everyone out of the house. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know this. My kids taught me this, that in Pokemon Go, the closer you were to water, or trying to catch a Pokemon by a body of water, the more rare the Pokemon you caught. Apparently, that's what Sebastian told me. Sebastian and Matthew both told me that because we would go down. Pokemon Go was a thing. There was a Pokestop. Like if we walked to the one corner of our apartment, we could in Encino, we could be in range of the Pokestop to like recharge. Right? I was addicted to this game.
Pokemon staying home,
but it was I was addicted to it because it got us out of the house. Mm-hmm. Like we would go to Santa Monica Pier, and I have a video on my phone. I'll have to show it to you. We would go to Santa Monica Pier, and Santa Monica Pier can get crowded and it can get nuts on the weekend, but not like this. Yeah. This was like, I don't know if you've ever seen the videos of Santa Monica Pier, the flyover.
Are they all out there trying to get their Snorlax?
Wall to wall people, like thousands of people, all literally with like their phones, but having the extra battery pack, like charging their phones. All after, so like you would see the crowd. Like you'd hear someone go Charizard, and literally the whole crowd would run down the pier onto the beach and go wherever this was and try to catch it, and then disappear. Then the next thing.
I love that so much. I love that so much, and I know that, I don't know if you watch Pokemon at all, but there's a character in the show
seen a few
called Brock. He's like, they're kind of the support character who cooks them food or whatever else. I had a backpack and I had my laptop. I think it was this laptop, or maybe it was the other laptop, and people plugged their their cords in, because this is before you needed charging bricks. You didn't need charging bricks for Pokemon Go. They would all plug it into my laptop, and that's how they charged their phones while we're walking down and like doing the Pokestops and stuff like that. I would have loved for that game to really have more depth to it, because I think it could have changed American society to be more interactive out in public. And I that's why I look at like this AR, VR, reality stuff. I think that it could provide some kind of promise for society to get people to go back outside while also still being able to have their medium on their face, you know. And as it relates to filmmaking, like how would that affect filmmaking, you know, as well? It's like,
I don't know. I mean, film's been around for how many years now? 100 some years, right?
Even before that, theater.
yeah.
Right, and even for the theater, like so,
But what
and,
does that
and Broadway's
evolve
still
into?
alive and well and kicking, and like I've just recently got into Broadway because Shannon and her girls love it, you know, and I went to see my first Broadway show 2 years ago, last year, something like that, and like I love it, absolutely love it. Shannon and I went summer 2022 and did like we were in New York for 2 weeks and we saw like a Broadway show every other day. Like it was awesome. It was awesome. But those mediums have been around for a while, and I don't know if it really would change that. I think it's hard because it's such a specific storytelling format.
Well, is it specific? So like you look at like cell phones, right? And you look at like TikTok, and I mean, like, would you have ever imagined that TikToks would be as big as they were even 5 years ago? Like,
No, I can't believe some people are making money on those things.
But like that's where society's trending. That's where most of the youth, they don't even use YouTube. You would consider YouTube a young generational thing. They don't even use YouTube. They use
no, it's
YouTube as like
TikTok.
they're in college and they got to like finish a
Do a research
project
paper.
and they got to use that to like. That's what I'm saying. Like, are movies, just because they were made back in the 50s or 40s, whatever else, are they destined to be that way until the end of time? Or are our mediums going to have a much more impact on how that
I
dictates
think
that?
it comes down to that business resists change at all cost.
Yeah.
And it takes
Super conservative.
It takes if they're anything but conservative, but they're so ingrained in the way things are supposed to be. I mean, that's why it's so hard to break in.
Right.
Like
You had to know somebody.
I was shopping shows and getting this great feedback and at amazing networks and things like that. And like, it all came down to, you know, well, you're not produced, so we're not taking a chance.
Right.
You know, or where's the IP? Where's the following of people who are paying attention to this, and that's what we're going to capitalize on. Social media has made that even harder. Like if you don't have a following, or like, you know, like literally I have actor friends who go on auditions and part of has to be on their, I don't know if it's on their resume, but it's definitely part of the questions they ask. How many followers do you have?
Oh, I didn't want to say that.
Like what's your social media presence?
Factor,
or
right? Like,
what's your IMDb ranking?
Yeah.
And like, you won't even audition if it's under a certain level.
Well, you were over in California, right? Like, how did you meet these people? How did you actually get into these like settings to where you could actually like even interact on that level?
I mean, it's really, it's a full-time job. It can be exhausting. It's constantly networking, constantly going out, whether you can afford to or not, you know, and going to networking events, going to screenings. I mean, I ran into so many people in the middle of the street, but there's those situations you're not necessarily like, oh, I've got this thing. Like you're automatically like, no, we're not interested, you know? But it really, for me, became when I started finding my voice writing and had a story to tell and something to say about it, that the quality spoke for itself.
Yeah.
And in that then got the feedback and the responses and it took one champion to get behind the project and be like, we're sending this out. We're going to do this. I believe in this. Let's go.
Do you think it's possible for like somebody who doesn't have a huge following to break out in the industry, or is that like a prerequisite, like in all cases?
I mean, I think it's possible for sure to break without it. Yeah, it really is. Like if you got something to say, you know how to say it, and you have a vision for it, and you're passionate about it. Yeah, I think, but it takes patience. Patience and knowing that like, no matter what I'm going to do, I'm not going to stop. This is what I want. And knowing that it will, what you want and how you see it do not match, or how you see it and how it really is don't match.
Right.
Like it's going to change and you have to be willing to move with it. I think that's very much a part of that. But you can absolutely break in if you, and it's really just putting yourself out there. Like, you have to be able to have someone give you the most, all kinds of notes. Like, every network you go to with a show, or every studio you go to with a movie, every executive has their notes, or every production company has their notes. And it's do you address them or do you not? And then what do you stand for? What do you don't?
Yeah.
How much you're like, how much your story is like, okay, this is non-negotiable, and how much is not. But you really just need to go for it. Like, that's the biggest thing.
And would you find that hard to kind of let go of certain parts of your story in order to like kind of like meet the demands of the director or the cinematography?
That's why I'm writing novels now, because I can tell my story the way that I want to tell my story. Yeah. And because there's some notes where it's like, what are you talking about?
Right.
You want to put a giant mechanical spider in the middle of the Wild Wild West and see what's going on? Can you guys name the movie? Yes, yeah. I know.
Yeah, I watch it on YouTube.
But because there's YouTube, that's amazing. So it really just depends. Like, what do you like? You need to know what you stand for. That's the biggest thing. You need to know that, like, this is my story. This is what I'm telling. You don't see it? Okay, great. Thank you for your time. I'm going to find someone who does. Or if you're just like, yes, I want to get this made and I want to break in and I'm willing to sacrifice this story to tell the other ones. If that works for you, then great, do it. Absolutely. There's just certain, like, but for me, switching to novel writing, it's just me. Yeah. I can tell my story, let my characters talk the way they want to talk, do the things that they want to do, and yes, then I fight the battle of, okay, will publishers do it? But then there's also self-publishing. And it's one of those things where it's like, I can just, here's my story. The job is literally just writing the greatest story, like the best story that you can. Like, doing as good of a job as
you're doing great. Keep it up.
I'm doing awesome right now.
It's the gasoline.
It's not even. I've had one sip of that. So my brain works at like, and so it's having three thoughts at one time right now, and I'm trying to sort through one of them. I know my kids and Shannon are probably laughing their faces off right now.
Oh, I hope so.
And rolling their eyes. I'm getting.
I'm Team Shannon. Let's go. Start taking clips, Shannon. We need those clips so that you can embarrass them later.
Please don't. This didn't happen. Does not happen.
The video on demand will be available after this for plenty of clip making.
My job when I sit in front of the computer is to tell the story that tell the story that fits, and tell the best story that I can, and write it, write the best story that I can. That's really what it is. That's what I'm trying to say. Thank you. Yeah. Absolutely.
So to jump in here real quick, we do have
I got the eye roll. I literally just got the eye roll.
So we did just get a little bit of chat participation here. I don't know if you would agree with this, but I'm just going to read it. Television is owned by companies who push their agenda and propaganda. YouTube/TikTok gives creators freedom. And then I followed up with, do you think this is a key factor in why that medium's starting to gain a footing? They said, yes. We've experienced more art and true creations through social media than television has given us in the last 10 years, according to this person.
I will give a little tidbit on that while you mull over your answer. I think that TikTok does not breed as much creativity as you think, only because you're kind of railroaded into having to be fake, or you're going to have to be as immediately entertaining as possible in order to just put some kind of product out there. So somebody like Jay here, if he wanted to make TikToks, he would only be able to tell stories in a TikTok medium, whereas that person has no other choice, You get what I'm saying? Or?
I do. But the person at the comment is also right in the sense that I don't necessarily agree with the agenda thing, but there is also the things their advertisers will pay for and the advertisers will not pay for, which does then fall under that avenue of agenda, right?
To be fair, that happens on YouTube too.
Yeah.
Fair. Okay. But it's really, you get that creative freedom in that medium when you've gotten to a point that you're at David Fincher or the the creators of Game of Thrones, or what is it, Chris Nolan's brother, Jonathan Nolan, Westworld, and all those things. Like, you get to that point where you get a network to believe in you, and like Ryan Murphy can do anything, and some succeed, some don't. And so but it takes a lot of time and investment and struggle to get to that point where it's like, I'm going to write my own check. I'm going to do my own stuff. And this is what it's going to be.
How much of that is shoulder rubbing and how much of that is actual grit?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think it's all subjective.
Yeah.
Like it's really, it's grit. Like, but there's people I've met in the business who've been in the business a long time and are successful and hate it.
Yeah.
Or just like, they just hate what they do, but they do it because it's all they know how to do.
Yeah.
And so it really is, it's a combination of both. Like you have to want it, you want it, and being willing to continue moving forward in the face of nothing but no.
Yeah.
But at the same time, who makes a difference.
Yeah, I'd expect
your last name does make a difference.
It's inevitable, right?
Yeah.
With that
your last name makes a difference. Yes, absolutely.
So this is the perfect question for that too. I didn't want to end the movie discussion right away because I think we're on a really good point. And this next question is based off the movie. So if you guys want to go ahead and take your shots here,
let's sip on this one real quick.
Oh, we're gonna
queued up.
Sip, a little sippy.
We're gonna do a sip.
Yeah.
All right.
Whew. All right, let's do the shot. I'll get a shot and get it out of my mouth.
Welcome to Sip and Shot Takes, everybody.
Oh, come on. Oh, whatever. It's on the ground.
You having trouble over there?
Wow.
That's why you put him in the kids cup, right?
Absolutely.
You put the kids cups inside the kids cup.
Yeah. I'm like Batman when it comes to stuff. I gotta think of every eventuality.
That's great.
All right, fellas. So next question is, what direction would you take to salvage the Marvel Universe now that Kang the Conqueror, Marvel's planned villain moving forward, has not had the impact Disney expected and has already been recast?
Are you aware that he's been recast?
No, I am. Yes. Have they announced who they recast him with?
Not yet. I think they have a few prospects, but obviously there's all those domestic assaults. I mean, he's been convicted, so I mean, like he did do that, and even if he was a good actor,
they already cut him. They did that last week.
Yeah,
they went live with that.
It was last week. I think I think the 22nd. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, I mean, he's been convicted of that. I mean, it sucks for his career, but I mean, if he did do it, then they can't keep him.
I mean, no, not at
as
all.
the main bad. Maybe if he was like
not
Ant-Man.
at all. But what? Okay, I have to ask. Like, what are they?
Sorry, go ahead.
Nice. What are they keeping right now? In my opinion, nothing's been really good since Endgame.
Right.
Yeah.
Like Iron Man dies, and spoiler alert. Sorry.
No, it's fine. If they don't know this,
I know, right?
they're probably not invested.
But like, I don't know. I saw Ant-Man 2. Or whatever, Quantumania, and like for me, we're in it with his like first act world for 5 minutes, and then we're in it. And I remember looking at I saw it with my son and Sebastian, and I looked at him when it was over, and I went, they're not even trying. Like they're not even. The thing I loved about that is they spent time on character and they spent time developing all of it. And I gotta say, I thought it was totally not true when they're like, oh, we have this mapped out for 20 movies. We know where everything's going.
Absolutely
and then
not.
No, they did. When I watched Endgame, I went, they sat down and they thought this out. Like this was like, this is brilliant. And then with Quantumania, I went,
you weren't feeling that.
I was like, they didn't try.
Yeah.
They knew I was hooked. They knew I already paid them their money.
They're taking your views for granted, right?
And they didn't even spend time. Like they just. To me, if you're going to write that, you spend time on the character. You're in that first act. You don't just throw the guy in and go, well, we're just in it. We're in the action. We're just going to be in it for the whole movie.
Right.
The action was cool. The effects were cool. But to me, I was like, oh, they're just they're printing money. They got my money. I don't know. To me, Quantum, ever since Endgame, the Spider-Mans, they're still pretty cool.
Yeah.
They're doing a good job with his stuff.
One out of the new ones.
But I think Tom Holland's carrying that.
Yeah.
And they've used the same director for all of them, sort of like they did with Captain America's, and they brought the same Captain America directors, the Russo brothers, into, the final Avengers. I think it was brilliant. And what is it, Tom Watts or John Watts or something who directs Spider-Man's? Something Watts.
I can't remember.
So I think they're just not really trying anymore.
Yeah.
Like Thor Ragnarok was amazing. That was like, in my opinion, that was one of the better Marvel movies.
I'm so disappointed that the newest Thor movie, Love and Thunder, didn't hit that. I was the moment that 10 minutes into the movie when I realized the Guardians of the Galaxy, it wasn't going to be like a funny like showboat between those two, and they were just leaving. I was immediately uninvested. I thought it was going to be a Guardians of the Galaxy Thor movie. You know?
Yeah. That's what I thought too. Which is, I think, probably that explains. I've been trying to figure out what didn't click for me with that movie, and that's it.
Yeah,
that's absolutely.
Because I thought their villain was good. I mean, Christian Bale. I think he was going to be
Christian
a great.
Bale was awesome.
I think he killed it as like the main villain.
Yeah.
You know, I think I was invested in him as a villain. The origin was kind of whatever, but like him as a character, I thought could have been a really good actor.
Like the Zeus sequence, that was funny. Russell Crowe was hilarious as Zeus. You know.
Yeah. So like getting back to the core of the question, because I know we're trying to
speed things up.
Yeah, but getting to the core of the question, what would you do to try and salvage the universe at this point? Like,
I mean, recasting's fine. Like the audience can. That's the suspension of disbelief. You know, like that's fine. Recasting's fine. I think it's really making sure you go back to what worked, not doing the same. So, like, if you look at like the Hangover 1, 2, and 3, it's the same movie 3 times, right? But there's a formula to what Marvel did with the character development and really investing in that. That, like, if you compare Captain America, Civil War, even there was still that character development in the first act where like we're invested in what's going on in Tony Stark and in all of those things. In Ant-Man Quantumania, they're just we see him walking down the street. He wrote a book and he's doing all this thing, and then all of a sudden he's in the quantum realm. You know, like I think going back to like taking the time with the character instead of just assuming we're already invested. We just want to see the action. Give the audience more credit, I guess.
Do you think that they're fine to still introduce new characters and like make a new arc, or do you think that they should focus on the characters they have? Like, I
think there's a reason that at least my son Sebastian tells me that Tony Stark may come back for some movies, or they're trying to bring the Tony Stark character back.
An article, like I think,
I feel like there's a reason. Robert Downey Jr. carried those movies.
Yeah,
not the only one. Like he was definitely a huge part.
He's a huge factor.
You know, of that, and you know, and it's hard. It's when you kill a character like that.
Yeah, you have so much personality in it. You can really feel it, right?
Right. Well, you lose that luster almost. Like I remember going to see Spider-Man. Was it Spider-Man Homecoming? Homecoming. Homecoming was the first one, right? And then Far From Home was the second one.
That's the second
that was the one with Jake Gyllenhaal.
And then No Way Home is the third one.
Right. Homecoming, and you know, and Tony Stark's in it. You know, like he's 3 or 4 scenes. You know,
he's just there to kind of just like,
but like
razzle
there's
dazzle,
still that
throw that sprinkle on that cake, baby.
Exactly. Yes, that. Do that again. What's that? Throw that sprinkle on that cake. Throw that sprinkle on that cake. Okay. Great. If I start doing that at home, don't be surprised if Shannon tells me to come back here. Sorry.
If I can add a little bit to this too, I'm the opposite from you, and I'm far away from you when it comes to how many movies I watch. But I was so invested in Infinity War, Endgame, the whole Avengers. Like I watched all those movies.
I did too.
And I think for me, as a casual movie watcher, the reason why I did that was because of all these through lines, all these different moments where, oh, hey, Thor just showed up. Oh, hey, Captain America just showed up. Tony Stark since the new Spider-Man.
It's like the 70s. It's like the 70s, like type of shows, like the sitcoms where like the guest star comes in like, ooh.
Yes. Hey, Laura. Yeah, exactly. And I think like what you're saying is, you know, it's when you kill off your characters, your main reasons for those through lines, it's really hard to keep the momentum going. You know, it's like you're putting the brakes on, you're stopping, and then you're trying to build that back up again. It's like, do you still have that winning formula when you're trying to start moving again?
Yes, you know, and that to me is where, in my opinion, the fix would be is going back and investing us in those characters on such that level that we were invested in Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man. You know,
I mean, Tom Holland has it, but like what? He's been in like 4 movies.
Tom Holland has it. You can't carry every movie.
Yeah.
Benedict Cumberbatch is great. Yeah. Like I love Sam Raimi directing, like seeing a really dark horror almost Marvel movie was awesome.
Yeah.
Like I love that movie, but I also don't remember a lot about it, and I couldn't, I've been picturing. So my problem when I go to watch movies at home, and I know we got to cut this segment short. So like,
No,
we have like 500 movies in my iTunes collection or whatever, right?
Wait,
and
your
like
iTunes collection.
Yeah, like I don't do the DVD thing anymore.
I didn't even know that was a thing. So you watch movies on iTunes?
Wait, you don't watch movies on iTunes?
No.
What do you watch on YouTube?
This is a generational thing, Tim.
Wow.
We watch on YouTube.
Wait, I am the old man in the room. Okay. Wow. Yes.
That's amazing.
I still have some
Where do you
Blu-rays
store
too.
them? Where do you put them? Like
iTunes?
Do you have like a hard drive just for movies?
I have my Apple TV that they're stored on the cloud. I can pull them up on my phone right now. Yes, they're on the cloud right now.
I love the cloud.
Wow. Wow. All right. I'm old.
You know what's
I'm
crazy?
living
No,
on that.
hold on. Let me slow you down. I want to point out this is a 10-year difference.
That's it?
Yeah, this is a 10-year difference. And then with us, with the generation behind us who's our TikTok crazy,
Right?
like 10-year difference.
I think TikTok crazy is like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like Tinder and all that.
My 10-year-old cousin on Tinder. Yeah.
Wow, 10 years old already.
Oh man, we talked about some great stuff there.
But when I go to pick movies, I was talking about what is that Doctor Strange one even called? I couldn't tell
It's
you.
Multiverse of Madness.
That's what it is.
I think that there was a lot. The reason I even liked it whatsoever is because it had a lot of shock moments in it. That I was like, wow, they did that in a Marvel movie.
Yes,
like,
I love that
There was
part.
the part where, like, at the very beginning, where like they pop that alien's eyeball. I'm like, can they do that? This is kind of violent.
and the zombie Doctor Strange was great.
I love that too, and that tied into the animated things, the what if stuff. I love that because it was that Doctor Strange. I'm pretty sure from that series. But I also the whole scene with the guy who like talks and he like screams or whatever the fuck, and his head fucking explodes.
Yes,
fucking so visceral. I did not expect. I would have loved to see more of that for Wanda to really just like tie in like how much of a baddie she can be. She really wants to be. My big disconnect for that movie was that Wanda had no lead up to being this much of a villain. She just kind of snapped over to it, and it was.
What am I saying? The formula is spend time investing in the characters and seeing that journey and seeing that turn.
And I watched WandaVision. I thought it was good, but I don't think that it led into that.
I watched 2 episodes and I went,
Oh, really?
Now Loki, love Loki.
Yeah,
Loki's fantastic.
First season. I haven't finished the second season yet.
Oh, so good.
Okay.
And they really go on a journey with this character. Like, they're doing great. Doing great. Where were iTunes? Yes, I was saying
fucking
I use iTunes. So my problem is I'm seeing this Scarlet Witch movie in my head, right? But that's what happens when I pick a movie at home. It takes like an hour to pick a movie because I literally go to a movie and I put it on and the whole thing plays in my head. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to watch that now. And then like, so I go through like 15 movies before I'm like, all right, I'll sit through this again. Because I just like, but my thing is like, I'll put one on if I can look at the first, look at the poster or something and like the title and not remember a part of the movie. It's like, okay, great, I got to watch this movie again. But so it takes forever to pick a movie, which is why I like to let the kids pick. Yeah. Or they'll tell you, well, no, that's not true. I do like to
I'll
still
resub
do it.
to.
I'm a remote hog. Yeah. I'm a remote hog. I got to be honest because Shannon's watching and it's true. And I would say I'm a remote hog.
I love it, man.
You're going to look over, there's going to be a bunch of like knife emojis on your text message right
I'm
there.
just getting a lot of eye rolls right now, or just this.
All right, so we're actually only 5 minutes over from our 10 minutes we talked about. So we saved 5 minutes. Good job, guys.
All right.
I like to keep it tight.
Why?
Title?
So,
do you guys watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
No, I need to though. Andy Samberg, right?
Yes.
Oh my god, I love Andy Samberg. Yeah.
Oh, this is dangerous because once you know this, you don't stop. Because so, and you know how The Office was? That's what she said, or am I that old that you guys? Okay, no. So like Steve Carell would always do like that's what she said. Right. So on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, it's title of your sex tape. So like I keep it tight, title of your sex tape. Like it just so in our house the kids just or like when friends are over, it's like title, like someone will say something, you just
Well, at least they have the courtesy to censor it. All right, so next question, if you guys want to queue up your shot here.
Sure thing. A little sip.
Sip. Oh, you're doing. I'm gonna savor that.
Yeah, it's
I'm
like
getting a sip.
It's really strong.
I'm gonna hold the question here. Tim needs all his focus. composure,
No,
willpower.
I mean, I'm gonna answer the question. Holy fuck.
Tim's gonna stumble across the room.
One of the first times we filmed it, he leaned on that getting up from his chair,
Yes,
and my
right here.
TV, the ghetto rigged TV mount over there
Right
where
on
the
piano
monitor's on,
stand. Yeah, okay.
he pushed on it, and that
Don't
TV
call
went
me out.
45 degrees like this direction before it came back down. I think we might see a
That's
repeat
great.
tonight.
Very, very calculated. No. I've learned a lot from my first episode of Shot Takes, and we're better for it.
I love it. That's great.
So, moving into question number 4. This is going back to your experience living on the other side of the continent. What can we as a society do to solve the homelessness problem? And for anybody not familiar, Los Angeles is struggling a little bit.
Yeah, Los Angeles is definitely struggling, and COVID showed that. I don't have the answer to that question. Like, I don't know.
If you don't have the answer, I mean, like at the very least, I guess like your
I mean,
experiences
I can
with it.
speak on my experience in LA during COVID. Like, when I first moved to I moved to Los Angeles in 2000, and when I moved there, Hollywood was just being regentrified, or is it? That's what the term, I think, right?
I don't know. That sounds really impressive to me.
And so basically, it was like run down. It was nasty. It was dirty, and they were cleaning it up. And they built the Kodak Theater at the time, which is now the Dolby Theater, and where the Oscars are. And they put the mall there, Hollywood and Highland, and it's like the Hollywood Walk of Fame and the handprints. And like that was all when I first moved there. It was just being cleaned up because it was bad. Like it was bad. And over from 2000 to 2020 when COVID hit, like it was clean. It was clean as could be. Like going out on a Saturday night, you know, Hollywood wasn't necessarily clean. Like, you know, drunks stumbling everywhere, you know, and things like that. But like the homeless, they were there, but most of them, you'd find them in Santa Monica because they wouldn't kick them on the streets. They'd lay on the, you know, in the 3rd Street Promenade, which is not a bad place to be if you're homeless, right? Like living down by the beach, right? But during COVID, when they started, because they closed the homeless shelters, and like because of you know to prevent outbreak and all that kind of stuff, like they took over Hollywood, like absolutely took over Hollywood. Like you drive up Cahuenga Boulevard, which I know you guys probably don't even know, but it's like it's in Hollywood. You drive up Cahuenga Boulevard, you go underneath the 101 underpass, and I first noticed it, and there was just you'd see homeless sleep underneath the underpasses from time to time.
Okay.
But it wasn't like this. Like they were like building houses underneath these underpasses on both sides, because there's a sidewalk that runs through, and usually like one side is homeless are on, then you can walk through the other side. But both sides, and it kept growing. Every time I'd go out in, you know, to visit friends or something like that, or go hang with my tribe, you know, I'd drive back up Cahuenga Boulevard, and it would like to the point where near the end, they had scaffolding. They had built like a 3-story, like
It sounds like a siege.
like
What you're describing.
it basically was. But they built this like 3-story, like they had walls made of like canvas, you know, like tarps and stuff. But like there was like a door up there, and like they just took over.
How many homeless would you guess that were there at that time?
Living on just underneath that underpass.
Yeah.
I don't know. It looked like you probably had 50 people living there.
Yeah.
You know, like because
we have maybe like 5 here, maybe 5, 10 here in town.
I mean, they're just everywhere. Like you walk outside of 7-Eleven, because 7-Elevens are big out in LA. You walk out of 7-Eleven, and it's just someone asking, you know, for change, you know. But to like my business partner at the time, a close friend of mine, lived in Hollywood, and during COVID and all that, and he would walk his dog, and he would walk his dog down Hollywood Boulevard, and it was just all the homeless were like, it was such a homeless problem in that area during COVID, especially, that every time he'd walk his dog, like every 3rd time, his dog would come back covered in fleas.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, it's never like, he's always walked her there. Like he always walked her down, you know,
That's so
down
sad.
Hollywood Boulevard. And like, it just got overrun. It's bad. I don't know how to fix it though. Like I couldn't, you know, it's
Isn't it so crazy that like there's a problem that like I'm not sure how much you research into this kind of stuff, or other people that you watch that might have some kind of opinions on this kind of stuff. It's crazy that a problem like that can exist for so long and there not be a concise way to end it. You know, I know that
Right.
Oliveira. I don't know if I ever written in there. Oliveira made a video on it, and he went to Seattle, and he went to the zone where there were no police for like 3 weeks or something like that. And he emphasized, like, he talked to a bunch of homeless people in that area and asked them, like, what would help them change their life? Like, what would help them to be a productive member of society? And effectively, they basically said that they don't want to be
Some
an
are
effective.
perfectly content.
Yeah, they just want to just live their homeless life, and they just want to just like they love just not having to answer to anybody, right? Because they really don't. They don't have to pay taxes because they just run around and
Their one job is to survive.
yeah, they just survive. They get showers so they can. It's a simpler life, and I guess it kind of harkens back to like, you know, human tribal society, right? Like maybe that they are the tribal society of modern era. You know, like is it possible to fix that? I don't know.
I mean, you know, I think if anyone can do it, Keanu Reeves can.
Yeah. very, very nonchalant answer. I love it. You know,
No, I mean,
John Wick fights the homeless.
Oh, no, helps the homeless. No, why would he fight the homeless, bro?
he's helping.
That
them.
is not who John Wick is.
You know what you don't
They
do?
did nothing to his dog.
They got fleas on them. Everybody tries to walk. He gets fleas.
Imagine the movie play on that. Comes back, he's always look at the fleas.
Oh,
like,
I want to see that movie now. I want to see that movie now.
He's like him, just like sweating, his hair all disheveled. He's like,
I want to see that movie now. That's great. That's great. Yeah. I don't know.
that's so funny.
There's a multitude of problems within that. You have mental health, you have substance abuse and addiction, and like I don't know. You're just it's like you peel back one layer and there's 500 more that show up. You know, it's tough. And there's others that are just like, I'm happy with this. I got nothing tying me down. I mean, think about it. They have no recurring charges coming on their cards. Mm-hmm. They have, like you said, no taxes. They don't have to worry about an electric bill. They don't have to worry about a mortgage. They don't have to worry about, you know, it's a primal, simple way of survival.
You know?
But at the same time, it's also tragic. I mean, it really is.
Is it tragic? I mean, like, they want that life. Is it tragic?
It's tragic for the ones that don't choose the life and don't want the life and want the help but don't get it.
Yeah. Some people that I've heard from that interview, and I'll let Dave speak in just a second, but they say that anybody, they don't feel like it's just them. They feel like anybody can end up being homeless at any point in time.
You never know.
You know, and they're one paycheck away from being homeless is what the quote is. What were you going to say,
I mean,
Dave?
absolutely.
I mean, I was just going to say, you know, it's sad because you see people getting marginalized, right? People who are simpler, not people who can write a script or people who can troubleshoot automation equipment or be a state trooper. Like, where are the people who used to just be farmers? People who just move bricks from one place to another back in, you know, tribal society and stuff.
Right.
Where's the place for them?
They're working 4 different jobs. You know?
Who wants that? Nobody wants that, you know? So these people are now marginalized that, oh, you don't want to work 4 jobs, you're homeless, you're useless, you're a pariah of society. And it's like, man, that's not fair to them too at the same time.
What if we just did like how the old people in the 1800s did with all the Native Americans? We put them all into one area, like one area like in Nebraska.
Where are you going with this? Wow, yeah, you started. That's the that's the Lefroy talking. Okay. Blame that.
But
Hashtag
I really,
not sponsored.
I really don't know how we help them to like make them want to be a productive member of society or want to stop abusing drugs or want to like build a life for themselves, or maybe it's like a thing where they just want to be, you know, a primal human being. And if they want to be a primal human being, let's not have that inconvenience everybody else who wants to just exist in a normal society and provide them a means to do that, you know?
Yeah. And I think it comes down to something that I've really learned over the last year. And so is that like you choose your life, right? And you choose, if you're not willing to make that choice to step into something different and create lasting change, it's nothing, no matter how much help you get, no matter if Mr. Beast shows up for his YouTube video and he's going to give you a house,
right?
You know, and $1 million to start over, you know, no matter if that happens or not, if you're not at that space where you're going to choose that this is my life,
Right.
or I no longer want this in my life, and I want to make a change, nothing's gonna stick.
Right.
Not a single thing, no matter how much help you get.
Clip that, everybody. Shannon, clip that. Tim, clip that. That's gonna be on our short notes.
Let me emphasize, I do want everybody to live whatever life they feel like is best for them. You know, like you only do get the one life to like try and accomplish whatever you want to accomplish. And I feel like you really should try to accomplish whatever it is you want to accomplish and enjoy life to the fullest, you know, because you don't know what comes after for all. So you can have faith, but like in all reality, you don't know. So I want you to go out there. If you want to be homeless, be homeless. Just don't let it affect other people.
And I think the reality is every day we wake up, we're on borrowed time.
Yeah.
You know, and what do you do with that? That's something I'm really taking on and learning lately is, you know, every day we wake up, it's borrowed time.
Yeah.
It's another day. Great. I got another one, you know? And what do you do? You know, which comes down to what do you want? What are you passionate about? What makes you happy?
Yeah.
What, as I, say from time to time, what sets your soul on fire?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Wow. Really brought the energy down.
I like that. No, it's,
Yeah, I love that kind of conversation. I love that kind of topics and that kind of ethicality of it. You know, I think it really brings us back to like, not really necessarily what the meaning of life is, but like, what does it mean to have the human spirit and what that means for you as an individual, what short time you have to make an impact on the world that's lasting, you know?
Leave it better than you found it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's a good motto to live by. You know, I think it's a very fair motto. It's a very realistic motto to live by. Like so many people come into this world and try and just like make it better for themselves, but like they're going to be gone no matter what they do after 100 years, you know, they're going to be gone.
They are.
So why make it just better for yourself?
So it's funny you just said that. So every morning, part of my morning routine, I get up a little bit earlier than everyone else so I can have some time to journal and read and things like that. But I'm working through, it's the Daily Stoic Journal by Ryan Holiday. And one of the questions, it's just like every day is a prompt and you sort of write on that prompt. And
I heard of this thing. It's called a diary, I think.
Yeah, right? Yes. But anyways, the prompt that that was in, it was like yesterday, was in 100 years, who will be remembered? What people will be remembered?
Right.
And it really is to think about is like in 100 years, really the answer is no one. Like, you know, you can do all this stuff and you can invest all this time, you can gain all this wealth and you can do all of those things and have all these material possessions, but you die. That doesn't go with you, you know? And then depending on who you were and your character as a human being growing up and the family you raised and the way you approached everything, you're either, you know, leaving it in a trust or your whole family tears themselves apart to fight for that, you know?
For that remaining money.
But to do what? To buy what?
No.
I don't know. Those are some things. Those are the things that I've taken on and really learned the last year.
Yeah.
You know.
You can watch some Kuzgrot videos on YouTube.
You gotta send me some links and I will.
Tim, I'm sorry. It's the second time you're mentioning it. It's Kurt's. As soon as I tried to correct you, I couldn't even say it.
This is where all the haters come from. Is his dimension over there by the laptop? It's all right though.
Hey, comment the correct way to pronounce Kurtzgitskitty or whatever in the chat below.
Hold on, one more time with feeling, please.
All right, so I think we're ready for our next topic.
You ready for more Lefroy, Tim?
What is Lefroy?
Lefroy is this.
I don't know. How much is left in my cup? How much is left in yours?
Half. I'm telling you, it's a sipping whiskey, my man.
I mean, I've been sipping it. Wow. Don't rush me. I'm doing my damn best here.
Don't rush him. He'll fall right through his new screen.
Yeah, that'll be real sad. Man, this stuff is rough. It smells good, but boy, is it just gasoline.
It is gasoline. That is true.
All right, I'm gonna do a little sip of this, and then let's do the shot. You ready, Dave?
All right.
His face every time is my favorite.
I'm being quiet. I just want to catch it. All right. Next question.
All right, what do we got? Hit me with it.
Still going off of your experience living across the continent,
Okay.
what are some positive and negative dynamics of living in California compared to Pennsylvania? I guess really it's kind of 4 questions. Negative and positive in California, negative and positive in Pennsylvania.
Where do you want me to start? California, Pennsylvania.
Wherever your heart desires.
I mean,
it's your
I
life.
think-
You only get one
okay.
life.
Okay, so in the business in Los Angeles, when you're doing the business, it is a different life. It is not a real life. Like, it is a life.
What do
It
you mean?
is
It's
a real
not,
life.
you said it's not a real life. What does that mean?
Meaning, it is not. It's just not something that you. I don't know. How would you? It's just not real. Like, you go out, you go to these clubs, you go to a bar, or you go to these networking events and you go meet with these people, and it's like constant. You're just a salesman all the time, and you're trying to sell your talents, your story, your idea.
Isn't that crazy?
Getting people to like you, and it just leads to loneliness.
Yeah,
And
isn't
it's
that
not real,
crazy?
and it's fake, because when you pull back, it's like, well, you were saying earlier about TikTok, how it's fake. Like I like to say it's a half-life. Every Instagram post, everything that you see on social media is a half-life. It is one side of the camera, which is not true, and what happens on the other side of the camera is the truth.
Right.
It is a half-life. And I think the film business and the entertainment business and doing all that, it is no one else, unless you're living in New York or Los Angeles, is living that life.
Right.
Like, you're in the same room as all these famous people, and you're trying to get their attention, and you go to Sundance, and like, when you go to Sundance, everyone from Los Angeles, and literally the first 4 days just goes to Park City, Utah, and you're walking down the street and you walk past 5 people that you recognize from these things, and you rub elbows with them and you talk to them at these parties and stuff, and it's not real in the sense that, like, you're always on. You're just always on. You're always running at 1,000 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And then, like, when do you relax?
Yeah. I mean,
So
like, the
I think
cities are
there's that,
alive.
but then there's the life outside of that. So Shannon and I went to Los Angeles a couple weeks ago because I showed her that side of LA, the other side of it, I friends with Jacob Luttrell and like going out with those people, and it's just like you're just always on. It's a party scene. It's just like you're out till 6 o'clock in the morning, and you're doing this. Like you that's not, no one normal lives that way, right?
Yeah.
And like I remember her and I were talking, and she's just like, I won't. I don't like LA for that reason. I was like, there's a different side to Los Angeles. There is a side that is chill, easy, laid back, like fun. And so she, for her birthday, we went to LA for like 4 days, and she's like, show me, and it's different. Like, it was waking up. We wake up, we went on a hike. We just got some coffee. We walked around. It was December, so there's the cold morning chill in the air, but it's still 75 degrees at night. Yep. And like, there's a laid backness to it. And, but at the same time, so I think to get to your question, the negative and positive, like here, there's nothing to do.
Yeah.
Bored to tears. And my kids, and I have to drive an hour to get to Culture. You know what I mean? That sounds insensitive, but you know what I'm saying? Like, to get to anything to do, to get to Pittsburgh, I have to drive an hour.
Yeah, to get the stuff that's actually happening.
Right. But even then, that stuff's closed on Sundays and Mondays, which is annoying, and it closes at 5 o'clock. Yeah. When you go to LA, for example, you open up DoorDash. There's, as Shannon says, there's paralysis by analysis. You cannot, no matter what you want, there's 1,000 choices. And like, it takes, an hour and a half to figure out what you're going to order.
Think about like DoorDash. 'Cause I use DoorDash. It's like,
there's 10 choices.
Yeah, I physically have been to those 10 choices. I could imagine like in Cali or LA or wherever it is, like that you just never even go to these places. It's just like, it's too inconveniencing traffic wise.
I don't know if it's true or not, but I always told people, when you live in LA, you could go out for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 3 years straight and never go to the same restaurant twice.
That's crazy.
Like, I don't know if it's true.
I could believe it,
But there's just always something new. But that's what I love about LA. There's always something new, always something, no matter how long you were there, live there, there's always something new to discover. or, you know, a new event or a new pop-up or new all those things. But also in LA, like my kids and I, we would just on the weekends when they didn't have school, we'd go to the Getty Museum and go see that, and they'd sit in a room with, you know, the Monets and the Manets and the Rembrandts, and, you know, and like get exposed to all of that, and, you know, or go to the beach because it's 90 degrees in January, which is one of the positives for California. The negatives for here, I don't like the cold.
I don't like the cold either, but I think that my main reason for not liking the cold is just because of work, right? Like, cause I would love the atmosphere, just having snow, just like a blanket on the bushes and everything. If I could fucking just stay inside and work
if you
remotely.
could have the snow and just drive 2 hours to go see it, and then be surfing by the end of the day at the beach, would you not choose that?
I probably would. And this is the thing, dude. This is the thing. I would love to live in LA, Cali. I often thought about moving there as like my actual career job, but like it just didn't end up panning out, you know? Because as I've grown, I've noticed that the culture of LA has gotten so radically, and I don't want to get into that aspect of it, but it is very radical to where it's not a stable environment to invest in, you know?
Okay.
In my opinion, you know?
Okay.
And
Right.
I'm afraid to invest into something like that, where it's like, I don't know if I'm going to have to work 2 or 3 jobs to just stay afloat where I live, you know?
I mean, I was renting, like, it depends. Like, rent is crazy. You know, a 2-bedroom apartment in LA, I don't know, 23. I mean, it all really depends where you're at. $2,300 to $4,000 a month and more.
But like, could you
With no
imagine-
utilities
let me
included?
stop
Nothing.
you there. If you told somebody they had to pay $2,000
To get an apartment.
to get an apartment here, we'd be dealing with homeless paupermen in Western PA.
Right.
Right?
But
Like-
in LA, that's normal. And then, like, but then when you apply for the apartment, they require that you make 3 times that much a month than your rent. Or you have a roommate and the two of you together do. Like, that's the astronomical side of it. Like, it gets added. Like, so that's a negative side, is that the cost of living is crazy high. But
So
the
how-
wages also don't match the cost of living.
They don't. They don't adjust. How do people
They
survive?
don't.
Why do
5
people
jobs.
choose
They live
that?
on the
Why do
street.
people choose that life? Why?
Live on the street.
If I'm working, you know, 13, 14 hours a day, what is worth living there for?
Right.
Like,
It's
what?
either that or you have 5 roommates. You know, you rent a house in the valley and you rent like a mansion. So you have like
the
a 6-bedroom
only way
house.
I'm living with 5 roommates if we all polyamorous.
That's available. I have people you can call.
No thanks. That's a little too crazy for me. But in all seriousness, like, how do you manage that? That is absolutely insane. That people can say that, oh yeah, I just have this $2,000 just apartment fee at the end of the month, on top of a utilities, on top of a car insurance, on top of whatever else. You know, like, how do they manage that? Who the fuck works at McDonald's? If you work at McDonald's, I want to invite you to my podcast. I want to know how the fuck you afford to live in LA on McDonald's salary, because that is crazy. That
You know,
is
I actually I want to be in on that too. Like, I want to be in on that.
But like,
But
seriously,
the problem comes when you tell them to get a flight to come out here to be on the podcast.
yeah, I mean, like, honestly, like, it might be worth it, because I don't know, like, how do you afford that? How do you afford to live in LA on a McDonald's salary? If you're saying it doesn't adjust for California,
From my
prices.
knowledge, I mean, again, I'm not I don't, you know, I don't have a specialized, you know, knowledge of that, but like in my experience, no, it doesn't. It's still, you know, 16, 17. I think the minimum wage in California is 15 an hour.
Oh, I
17
didn't know
an
there
hour,
was a
something like
different
that.
minute.
There's
I mean,
a different minimum wage. It's a higher minimum wage,
okay.
which is supposed to adjust for that. But even at $17 an hour,
That's still not
working
enough for
40
two-
hours a week minus taxes, you're not making $2,000. You're not making
You
$3,000,
have to have other
$4,000 a
people.
month.
You
a
have
month.
to.
Yeah. So so that's definitely a negative, the cost of living. But the ability to do anything you want at any time, like, is a positive.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I don't know. To me, I feel more at home there. But yeah, so the positives would definitely be the weather too. They do get. I say they get seasons, because in the mornings, December this time, you're like they're being like drowned out in rain right now too.
Yeah.
But like when Shannon and I went out, it was
So hard to snow, but I can't.
we'll in the mountains. The skiing will be great.
Oh yeah.
You know, and the nearest ski slope is like an hour and a half, 2 hours away, and you know you can go skiing, and then
So It is such a paradise I would love to live out there. I really would. I just can't compete with that number of people,
Fair. Fair. And in your profession, you probably wouldn't get a great assignment to start.
It wasn't the first time I went to California. I had gotten flown out there. This is probably completely foreign to you. I was a competitive video game player in college.
Okay.
And my team,
competitive. That's awesome.
yes,
That's
but
fantastic.
yes, my team and my sister team were the top 8 in all of America, and they flew us out to California to compete in this video game tournament. And that was my first experience with California. Is an hour and a half drive to a place that was 20 minutes away. Yes. And I was like, before I had done that, I was like, this is where I want to live. This is crazy. I'm going to Burbank to film this video game competition. And I'm like, well, I don't want to drive, for an hour to go fucking 10 minutes. That's absolutely beyond anything I've seen before. The traffic.
That is the deal. That is the thing that like Shannon, when we go out, she goes, I can't do the traffic. But again, there's also the downside too. If you structure your life around the traffic, like, if you try to go in rush hour, your 12-mile drive to Hollywood is going to take an hour and 15 minutes, right. But if you drive in from the Valley to Hollywood, that 12 miles at 11 o'clock in the morning, it may take you a minute and a half a mile, and you can kind of go and do your thing. But I mean, it's funny because I spent so much time in LA and I love that city. I know it like the back of my hand. That like, if someone called me right now and was like, I'm lost, here's where I'm at, and I need to go here, I could direct them from here. But I could not name 3 or 4 roads in Newcastle and in this area. Could not tell you. I still need GPS. But like, when we went out to LA, like, she's like, we were like, Shannon and I looked something up. She goes, oh, it's here. And I was like, okay, great. What are the intersections? Awesome. And I no GPS, just like, let's go. And like, even taking shortcuts, like, oh, what time is it? Okay, great. I'm going to need to go this way. But here, couldn't tell you the name of a road. I know, like, I need to go to this place. I know what that road is. I couldn't tell you what the name is.
It's not enough of an inconvenience for you to have to know, I think, is what it really comes down to.
True, dude. Like, that is nice. There is never any traffic here. Yeah. That's definitely a positive. We're still on the same question. We haven't changed the subject yet. So that's definitely a positive. Like, if I'm going to drive down to Pittsburgh, for the most part, it's 45 miles. It's going to take 45 minutes. Although, wait, no, that's also different. I looked up something. Shannon and I went on a date tonight, and we looked up a restaurant. It was 11 miles away, but it took 23 minutes to get there because there's no direct routes around here. Everything is like... These aren't mountains, these are rolling hills.
Yeah, I love these rolling hills, baby.
You were in LA, you know the mountains out there.
Yeah, but actually, I don't know them too well. I've seen like maybe some mountains, but most of it was pretty much just city. Wherever I got off the LAX and went straight to Burbank, and that's
a tip for anyone. If you're in the valley, north is always the bigger mountains, and south is the smaller mountains. And if you're in Burbank, though, that changes because Burbank's different. But if you're in the basin, which is like Hollywood, LA, and all of that stuff, the mountains are north and no mountains are south. Like, it's easy because then if you go west, you're going to hit ocean. So,
one interesting tidbit, and this is from ye old YouTube. California was thought to be an island for the longest time until like the early 1900s, because Baja California they thought was all of California. They thought it was just its own little island over there.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So like all maps that were drawn back in the 1800s, all the way up to like the 70s or something like that.
Body of water going all the way up.
It's just an island. California is its own little thing. So the people that went over there, they thought it was its own little magical area.
I mean, if you ask many people, they would say they're in their own little world out there. So,
but I learned that from Johnny Harris. Maybe that's one of the channels I'll show you after today's podcast. But Johnny Harris does great like geographical work that you might be interested in.
Happy to check that out.
What do you got for our final question of the night?
All right, so moving into our final question here. And before I say this, I'm going to preface this real quick. Something's going on with the audio where I need to go down to like just one microphone at a time. So I'm going to focus completely on you for this question because this is mainly you. You're welcome to chime in, but it may take a second for me to switch over. So our question to finish off the night, this is your moment to to go back to your LA self and put your brand out there. What is next for J. Penberth Rabold? Correct.
I am editing my second novel. It's based off a feature that I wrote, and really transitioning into keeping in storytelling, but doing it for me, writing the stories that I love, the stories that inspire me, and writing them to the best of my ability and putting them out there. And if they don't find an audience, they don't find an audience. That's, it's really just writing for me, which has really been empowering in many ways, instead of trying to write because a movie a movie and a TV show take 300 to 1,000 people to make, and 30 of them are the ones who have all these things to say and the things they want to see, and you have to please them. You have to do all that. This is just me, and if no one likes it, I can self-publish. And it's one of those things where it's like, I'm okay with that, because it really is just doing it for me. And so I'm working on that. I'm getting ready to start book 2 of that first of the series for that, once I finish editing my second novel. So it's weird. I have so the first novel is a historical fantasy, like supernatural thriller, very much in the line of Game of Thrones and The Witcher and things like that. But my second, the novel that I'm currently revising right now is chick lit. And so it's this broad range of stuff. And then I'm building out I have a story consulting company and a copywriting consulting company that I've been building out right now with clients. And those are really, sorry.
What is, get this fixed here. What is a copyright? What is it? You said copywriting. So what is involved with that?
It's basically web copy, social media. So it's writing the copy, the words that you see on the website, helping brands find their voice, and really helping them capture their audience, and then optimizing it for Google search and things like that. And then also doing blogs, keywording, YouTube videos, keywording, Instagram, things like that, to really help them write stuff that drives traffic to their site, so they build their audience. And one of the biggest things is really helping, really focusing on coaches, like life coaches and career coaches and things like that, because I can write that stuff in my sleep and I love it. It's easy, but I get it, and it's really helping them really build out their brand and their voice, and understanding what they're looking for and the people they want to, their niche audience, and helping them structure their website, all of their posts, their blogs, everything that's out there for their brand, and building that out. So that's a huge component of what I do when I'm not writing my own stuff. And then I'm also building out a story consulting company. So that same company does story consulting. So I have a curriculum to help people, whether it's books or screenplays and things like that, find their voice, find their story, and really build out a compelling narrative and story arc through everything that they do. I have this really good negative self-talk story that I don't have a voice, and I have this thing that convinces myself, when I'm journaling in a diary, that I don't, that I've got nothing good to say. But the reality is that I really don't, and that I really do, and that is not true. That's what I meant. But maybe I did. Maybe that was a Freudian slip, and no one should read anything that I write. Just don't, right? There it is. Cool. Done. Mic drop. Out.
You made our next short, so
love it. Great. Awesome.
I think I can speak for everybody here that I don't, at least for me, I don't feel that way. I think there was a lot of highlights from listening to this.
Thank you. I really
a lot of short content that you're not going to watch because you hate YouTube, but
I don't hate YouTube. I just don't know it because I'm old.
I will say that I did go to play poker at Jay's house, and he ordered a Mr. Beast burger. So I don't know what's going on there.
That's my son Sebastian.
Okay.
He's like, try this in LA. And we ordered it. He goes, Mr. Beast burger, you gotta try it. I was like, who's Mr. Beast? And then I found out who Mr. Beast was. What was I saying?
Young
Yes, young creators. I love helping people find their truth. Like I have literally tattooed, right truth, inspire love. Oh yeah, is the camera right there? So I have, is that in the camera? Where's the frame? There it is.
Right truth.
Yeah. And then inspire love. And that's really what it is. Like if you are writing your truth, it's a story people want to listen to. And they're going to want to watch, they're going to read, they're going to want to just soak in that. That's what I believe. And that's what I try to encourage. That's what I focus on in my own writing. And that's what that story curriculum that I've created really focuses on too. And other writers like, look, you may not feel, you may be, 19, you may be 20, you may be 56, or however old you are, you have a truth that's yours that no one can take from you. And whoo, I told you I'm the crier. Hold on. And no one can take that from you. And it is, you need to have that in your writing and in everything you're doing. And if you're telling that story, people are going to eat it up because there will be a million people who identify with that truth. It may not be their own, it's yours, but there is something they will find within what you've written that is theirs. No, but that's why self-publishing in the novel, in the novel business has taken off because you can, and then you find an audience. Like I didn't know this when I was doing my research on outlets to put my work into and things like that. That 50 Shades of Grey, I guess, started as a self-published book and then took off and then became what it is. I didn't know it either. I was like, oh, that's kind of fascinating. Yeah. And so, yeah, they're once they're ready to go and in stages to put the word out, then absolutely would love to. Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I look forward to that. I mean, I wish you the best of luck with what you got going on with the novels and everything like that. I don't know what you can tell about the novels that you get upcoming, but I mean, kind of give people kind of an understanding of what it is that you're producing.
I mean, I think the first one I said is very much a historical fantasy, Game of Thrones style, style thing that is based off of a historical figure, and it, well, okay, whatever. Like, no, well, how much time do we have left? Because I'll talk about this for like the next 3 hours.
I mean, we have a cool 15 minutes if you want the full duration.
So my first novel is called Bathory, 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 Blood and Iron, Book 1. But Bathory is based off of Elizabeth Bathory, who was a 16th century Hungarian countess. She's the world's deadliest serial killer. The belief is she killed 630 some women over 30 years.
That's impressive. I mean,
right?
It's messed up.
She was related by marriage to Vlad Dracul, who we all know as Dracula, right? And so, but so the story focuses on her, and she's a woman who at that time was one of the richest people in the world. She owned more land than the Queen of England. Mm-hmm. She was so wealthy and so powerful that her husband had to take her last name when they got married. Right? Right?
She was
No, not Dracula. That was she was related to him by marriage. He was 150 years older than her, 100 something years older than her.
There's two things to that. One, she was definitely tall in bed. Second, there were not that many woman serial killers out there. So that also makes it a very compelling.
The number's like 60 or something like that, but like because the rumor was that she was called the Blood Countess because she bathed in their blood because she felt it made her younger. So I found this story in there and that she's like the heart of, but I opened this world up, tied it all the way back to Calvary Hill and just really opened up the world into this big Game of Thrones type, epic. But it's all driven by the fact that this woman who just wants to be loved for who she is and wants to be accepted for that is trying, but has to survive as one of the most powerful and influential people in Eastern Europe at the time in a world of men who don't respect her, don't believe she has anything to offer, yet she's the smartest person in every room she walks into. Who understands that the real truth in having power is understanding that true power is giving it away to empower others.
Kind of reminds me of like Cleopatra in a way.
Yeah, where
she is combating the dynamics of being a woman in a position of power, and at the same time having to play these politic type Game of Thrones type situations where she has to like kind
That's definitely part of it. And then obviously she's related by marriage to Vlad Dracul. So there's vampires, there's witches, there's this whole underworld that plays into this novel that opens it up into this big, you know, and it's written in 3 parts, and each part is a cliffhanger. And then so I once I find its home, it's almost ready to publish now. I'm having some artwork drawn to it, like maps on the inner covers and things like that. I have a book front cover image I can send you guys that you can post on your YouTube thing. But it definitely ends in a cliffhanger, and so that I'm looking to have published this year. And if I'm self-publishing it will be published this year. And then next year, 2025 is when book 2 will come out, and it's book 1's like 360 some pages, 369 I think. So I have the whole series mapped out for 7 seasons. I know what's being said in episode 1, or in this case, part 1 of book 1, that impacts, you know, book 12, part 2.
Is that difficult to like to script ahead of time, or do you kind of just like have the broad strokes figured out? Like, what is your like thought process for like designing narratives that span across that many books before you've even gotten in and gone over the details?
For me, it was really focusing on the television show. So I developed the television show out that far. It came to the point where I was developing it with a team, and I was like, guys, I know where this is going for 10 seasons. Like, I just know where this is going. And so the woman who was really leading the charge, Charlie Carmen, she's awesome story developer. She's like, okay, great. Show me. Give me one synopsis per episode for 10 seasons, 100 episodes. Where does it go? And so like I went home that night and I sent a season, 10 synopses, every like 30 minutes to my team going, here's season 1, here's season 2, here's season 3, here's season 4, like just all the way up to season 10, and printed it out. And then I did character Bibles and like who are the characters and the villains that come into each season, when do they die, what their secrets are, that's part of like the writing story curriculum that I've really honed in on. And in doing so, it was like, I know when each person comes into the series, I know when they die, I know or where they live and what their purpose is and why they're there and what their secrets are and why they're so connected to this. And it's just one of those things where, I don't know, you hear like an athlete gets in the zone, right? And they just like, they're in the zone, you know? For me,
person, even writer, whatever, could get it.
For me, I was in the zone. Like I tap into something bigger than me. And I literally just like, I download. I would literally write stuff. I'd write 10 pages of a script and go, wait, what? That wasn't, because I map everything out before I write it. Right. Like I'm what you call plotter. There's pantsers and plotters. Pantsers are writers who fly by the seat of the pants and they just go. You know, which I've tried and it doesn't go well. It doesn't fit you. It doesn't go well. So for me, I map it all out. And then when I map it out, but yet when I was writing this story, I'd map it out and I'd write, you know, a stream of 10, 15 pages and go, wait, that's not what's supposed to happen. But I sound so crazy every time I say this, but it's when I'm in that zone, the characters start talking. And when they're talking, they guide the story and they move it in the direction that's supposed to go that may not match what I thought it was going to go. And you're just tapped into that. And this story is one of those things where I start writing and I tap into, I'm AirPods in, Dave Matthews Band going, no, you know, like, and just typing away on the keyboard.
Where do you get your inspiration for the characters? Like, how do you go about like designing like the characters' personalities? I don't know how that works, like reference wise.
For me, it really is like, it's what serves the story. It's what's the mirror that I can find in this scene or in this story for this character, and what is their purpose? What are their secrets? What, you know, I mean, like there's things in the book. I don't want to give it away. Like I'm not going to, but there are like things in there where you like, there's characters that I tie in that are like, they have these, I don't know. I didn't really like history in school and I didn't like English, but the irony is like, I like, right. I'm literally right for a living. And but this project, like I have boxes and boxes of research that I laid out, and like researching history from, you know, as far back as I could find up until, you know, and then finding ways. I don't really have an answer to your question. It really is just like kind of tapping into it and going, oh my God, this character would be awesome. Does it fit? And you run through this like internal checklist in your head of, yeah, it fits. Okay, it checks. No, it doesn't. Let's move it away. And then yet you like find a note and you'll get stuck on a scene or on a character or a story arc. And you'll go, oh wait, I have that character that I wasn't sure where it fit. They fit right here. And so, and then you just develop it. And then when you literally sit down, you go, okay, well, what's their backstory? How did they get here? What do they do? Like, it just kind of shows up sometimes.
Kind of like a puzzle, right? Like you're sitting there, you're putting all the pieces out there. You have the base of it done, but you need to figure out how you're going to fit everything else in there to make it make sense, right?
When you find how it fits, it doesn't fit the way you thought. Like I was redlining the Bathory novel and revising it. And like my wife had read it already. And she's like, and you know, but I'm reading it and I go, I remember reading like 4 chapters in a row. And I looked at her, I was like, I don't remember writing this. Like, this is awesome. I don't remember writing it. Like, I know it's there because, so when I sat down and wrote the novel, I had the first 3 scripts of the series already written. So I basically novelized those 3 scripts as one book, right? But even within that, like I wrote those scripts, I know I wrote those scripts, I sat down and developed those out with the team and everything working around that. But when I read the novel, I was like, I have no recollection of writing those 35 pages. No recollection. Couldn't tell you. But they're awesome. You know, there's some changes, but like, so there's that thing with that. And to me, that's the tapping in. Like, that's when you're just so connected to your truth, your voice, and what you want to say and why you're saying it, that you just don't remember. Like it just flows, you know?
I know you're not going to get this reference, but my DBZ, my Dragon Ball Z lovers will love this. It's Ultra Instinct. Yeah. Is what that is.
Okay. Like, I went through the screen, is over there somewhere.
I'm so glad you came out. I hope you had fun.
Oh, dude, this has been a blast.
Yeah,
I want to come back.
I would love to have you back. I think we could really tap into some other stuff. I think you have a wealth of experience that we can
absolutely love that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, at the end of the day, me and Dave started this thing to just have fun talking to people and getting to know their experience. So there's a whole bunch of people in Newcastle you never know that have the experiences that you've had and the knowledge to share, and you know that might help somebody to inspire them.
We could do a whole, and you just thank you for having me here.
No, absolutely,
it's really awesome.
I hope that everything worked out technologically. Yeah.
There's literally, guys, there's nothing over here. Yeah, it's completely blank. Like, there's nothing there. He's just like the Dr. Brain pressing buttons, you know.
But you know, like we're just getting started with this. I really feel like at the end of the day, no matter what happens, I loved sitting here and talking with you, Jay. It was a good pleasure. So hopefully we're able to make something out of this into an episode and chip it onto the channel. But I hope that everybody at home enjoyed this as well, or whatever camera I'm looking at here.
I know, here. Yeah. I can't see yours. Yeah. But over there. But you can do the.
But I really have to pee. I was gonna go pee at the halftime mark, and I'm just like, I'm gonna tough it out with this gasoline. We're gonna make this work. He's talking about Marvel. I really hear about this. But I've been Tim from Shot Takes. I don't know, Jay. You want to say something else?
No, man.
Okay.
I wrap it up.
Okay.
I'm wrap it up so you can go pee, man.
I'm trying. I gotta make it smooth. I'm Tim from Shop Takes. That's been Dave. That's been Jay. Well, check out his work. He's a brilliant writer. I promise you'll love what he has to put out there. And I hope you guys will join us next time.